Hey everybody, welcome back to Haven Family Farm. We're going to shoot a video in the garage here today because it is raining outside and a little bit chilly, which I am okay with because most of our snow is gone now finally, so hey, I'll take the rain. I may change my tune during hay season though, but right now I'm happy for it. So, in one of the last videos I did, I think it was a couple videos ago, I did a short video. It was like 5 easy steps to building a shed or building pad. And in that video, I had my laser level set up, and I was using that to level the top of the pad, and I had quite a few people ask for some information about it. So I thought I'd just do a video about two different styles of levels, transit. This guy over here is actually a transit. This one's just a laser level. But I'm going to show you two different styles, and both of these are quality products. You know, me being in business, doing some of this for a living, you know, I wanted quality equipment. If you're just going to be using a piece of equipment, you know, once or twice, maybe on your farm or homestead or whatever, just to do a couple little things, you don't have to spend the money necessarily on, you know, these name brand things. I imagine there's stuff out there, you know, on Amazon and whatnot that you can get cheaper. Just be careful when you buy the stuff that's not name brand. You know, do your research, do your due diligence on that, you know, make sure that other people have had success with it. The other thing you want to check, depending on the size of the job that you're doing, you know, a small shed pad that I did, one of those cheaper units is most likely okay. For me, in the work that I do, I might be a distance from my level to my story pole. We'll get into those terms a little bit in a minute. I may be 200 feet away when I'm trying to read elevations, and the cheaper units are not going to be as accurate. So just keep that in mind. If you know, you want to buy a cheaper one, that's fine, but look at the accuracy of it, and you may have to, if you're going to have to shoot, say, 250 foot of grade for an elevation pad, parking lot, whatever you're doing, you may have to reset your transit 2 or 3 times because it's going to lose its accuracy over distance. So anyway, so I have a DeWalt transit here we're going to look at, and this other one is a Burger. It's again, it's more of a laser level. So let's get these out. I know you can't see them up close, but I'll bring you up close here after to look at them. So this was the first unit I bought back when I started, geez, almost 20 years ago, doing pads and things. It got to be too annoying to try to use a level in like a 2x4 or whatever, you know, to be trying to level in pads. I was done with that. So this guy here, this is actually a transit, and again, I'll show you up close after. Here's your tripod, and the transit will sit right on top here. There's this platform. So all the legs are adjustable here, and they have points on the bottom of them with this little foot peg. You want to kind of jam those, spread the legs, jam those points in the ground so it doesn't shift on you. And then right here, there's little tabs. There's 3 tabs. These legs are adjustable. Before you put this on, you want to eyeball this and get this pad here as level as you can. This guy here mounts on here, and from underneath there's a knob with a screw that you screwed on there. Now this guy here, again, this one has to be leveled manually. So there's a level here, and let me bring you over. You can see here the various degrees and things. That's more for transit work. I always use it just for leveling. But you can see there is a level in here. So what you have to do is there's a knob here, and another one over there. So you use these adjustment knobs, and you have to keep turning this and using that level in order to manually level this. It's got to be level. Otherwise, you know, whatever you're shooting, the distance it's going to be off. So that's kind of how that works. You look through the scope. There is a fine-tune adjustment knob here. So this unit takes 2 people to use. So then you have your story pole over here. I can't, here. should have opened that up before I started the video. So anyway, here's your story pole here. You can see it's got the foot mark is in red, and then your inches, and then it even has a little red here. So this would be, you know, tells you that this is 4 foot, and gives you your inches. This story pole is different from the other one, and I'll show you that in a minute, because you have to manually read this one. So you look through the scope, and there's lines inside that scope, and you line the line up with the closest mark that you've got on here, and that's how you read this. So if you wanted to level something, let's say you look through there and you saw 3 foot 8 inches. That was the mark you're going to work from. So that means as you take readings all across your pad, if you want it to be level, every time somebody looks through there and tells you the number, it's got to read 3/8. If it doesn't, then you've got to either add material or subtract material, so on your pad, to get it level. You always want it to read the same number. So now if you're trying to do a grade for drainage, obviously your number is going to change as you move on the property there. This story pole also has some numbers on the back, and even right here it'll show you a little bit. But again, this one is different because it is designed to be read manually. So that's a little bit about the manual one. Again, you can see it's a DeWalt. This has been a good quality transit to have. I quit using it when I got the other one because it just got to the point it wasn't cost effective for me having employees to have 2 people to run something, but I always kept it as a backup in case the batteries on the other one were dead or something. So that's that guy. So now I'm going to set you back up here, and we're going to take a peek at the laser level here. This one is more complicated, but it's easier to use, if that makes sense. So in here we've got the actual unit itself, and again, I'll bring you over. It screws on the same way. There's a knob with some screws here, so you screw that on. Same idea. Tripod's pretty much the same with the feet and everything. Jam that in the ground. This guy here is actually self-leveling, so your tripod does not have to be perfectly level on top, but you still want to eyeball it and get it as close as you can, because it will only self-level to a certain point. You can't have it tipped like crazy. There is a limit to what it will do, so you always want to eyeball it, get it close. You can screw that down. This one has the hook on it here for the plumb bob. If you need it to be right on the corner of like a foundation or something, that one you can hang a plumb bob from too. I think it's in the box there, but so there's a little hook here for that. And while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and open this guy up. And then here is the detector for the laser, and that's going to come over on here, and again I'll show you in just a minute up close how that works, but I'm going to put it on here this time and not trip over the box. So this guy here, everything's on the screen here. You know, you got your power, leveling, anti-drift, and it will beep and show you if you get out of level and whatnot. It's simple to use, but it's really nice because it's auto leveling, and you don't have to spend a bunch of times leveling it like you do that one, especially if you have to move the unit quite a few times, if you're, you know, depending on where you're working or what you're doing. So it emits there's a little spinny guy up in here, the laser that spins around. You can use this 360 degrees around the unit. You don't have to stay in front of it. That one will spin as well. You can turn it, but once again, it's by hand. And then if you're doing transit work, you can do, read the little degrees down here, and it will move in very minute increments right there. But anyway, so you can use it 360. So here's the story pole for this one. This does not have any numbers on the back because you're not actually reading anything. But here's the detector portion of that. And now it doesn't want to stand there for me. There we go. So basically, you've got your on and off and your volume, but it'll tell you on this little screen here It'll let you know how close you are. There'll be an up arrow or a down arrow if obviously you're too high or too low. I would turn it on, but the beeping is really loud and annoying, and it would probably come through very strongly on the video. But so the neat thing about using a unit like this, once again, self-leveling, and it's a one-person unit. What I'd actually like to do, what I'm looking at, is getting using this unit here, but instead of the story pole, they have a big receiver that's magnetic that you can put on the excavator boom. So it's not as accurate as the story pole because you have a little bit of wiggle room with how you set your excavator bucket down, but it'll get you pretty close. So I'm actually looking at purchasing that as well if you wanted to take it a step further if you're doing equipment work. The other thing I've thought about doing with either one of these, you could do is create a base for it so that you could put your story pole like in a base, and then you could basically walk away from it. It may make it a little easier for someone to use this by themselves. However, you still almost need somebody when you're taking a bunch of elevations to move it around. If you're just going slow one spot at a time, you can make that work. But here, if you're trying to take a bunch of elevations all over the place and you're walking and moving, this is still way faster, even though it's more expensive. So if we bring this story pole over for the manual one, you can kind of see the difference here, how these numbers are much bigger than those because you have to read them from further away. So, I mean, overall, they're pretty similar, but they've designed this one to be easier to read from a distance. So once again, once you find your grade, you're basically using these two marks here. It's going to be different for whatever unit you might have or get, but this is what you want to look at. So once again, if you land right here, this is 4 3/4 inches. If that's your level mark, it's going to have one steady beep with a line right in the center, and that's where you take your story pole around, and that's where you'd want to be. Alright guys, I think that finishes this video up here, just trying to give you some basic information on the 2 units that I've used in the past, and just a quick run through. There's a lot of little ins and outs and things that I'm sure I missed, but I was just trying to do an overview here today. If you have any questions about either one of these things, I'd be happy to answer them. Just ask in the comment section down below, no problem. Both of these, again, I've had for a long time. We used that one for years before we got busy enough to the point where I could afford to buy the automatic one. This has been a great unit. They both are, really. So yeah, any questions, comments, leave them down below. I appreciate you watching. I hope this video was helpful. The investment of one of these guys, again, depending on whether you get a name brand or off-brand one, it can really save you a lot of money if you're doing a project on your home, homestead, farm, whatever. It can really save you a lot of money. So it a lot of times is worth the investment. If you have a skid steer and you can do a little bit of grading work and things with that, finish work, it can really save you some money. So again, I hope this video was helpful to you guys. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget the subscribe button and the thumbs up on your way out the door. And I sure hope to see you on the next video.